It is Monday, October 27th.
This is The Warning.
Another week has begun in America, and it will be a week of depravity, insanity, malice, and mayhem. All of it orchestrated by the President of the United States. His sycophants range from the deranged to the extremists to the zealots to the opportunists. They are a mix of disordered personalities. Some are criminal, some are sociopathic, some are psychopathic, but none is more preposterous, more incompetent than the prissy, preening, sycophantic Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, who dared to suggest he's a soybean farmer on the Sunday shows.
The president has also said he does want our farmers to be taken care of. You did mention that China has been boycotting American soybeans and American farmers have really suffered. Do you see a real light at the end of the tunnel there? They may allow soybeans again?
Well, Martha, in case you don't know it, I'm actually a soybean farmer, so I have felt this pain too. And there are a couple of things happening here. One, the Chinese have substantially dropped their purchases to almost zero, so they unfortunately have been using American farmers who are amongst President Trump's biggest supporters. I think he had more than 90% support. And then this was one of the biggest crops in 20 or 30 years, so it was a perfect storm. But I think we have addressed the farmers' concerns, and I'm not going to get ahead of the president, but I believe when the announcement of the deal with China is made public, that our soybean farmers will feel very good about what's going on, both for this season and the coming seasons.
He is a billionaire hedge fund manager, and he is Donald Trump's indispensable partner in gaslighting the American people about the economy that he's wrecking. He is a disgrace. He is a man who, in less than 1 year of service, one of the highest ranking officials in the American government in this age of sickness and sleaziness, has had 2 near fistfights, one with Elon Musk right outside the Oval Office, and another with a junior government official. He does not like being challenged, and he is absurd. It used to be that government officials or political candidates had to have it together when they went on a Sunday show. In fact, it could make or break your career. And I guess this is what Barry Weiss News will look like. It's the type of generic, blah questioning appropriate for any country with state media. Now, the government of Ontario, one of the largest, if not the largest trading partner for 21 states, ran a $75 million media campaign in the United States talking about the malignancy of tariffs towards prosperity using the words of Ronald Reagan. Here's a segment of the ad.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs.
All of it is true. Ronald Reagan was a free trader. Ronald Reagan spoke out against tariffs, and the trading relationship between the United States and Canada is worth $1 trillion across the boundaries, and it's being wrecked. Canada has every right to advertise, to communicate directly to the American people in a free and open society. The idea that Scott Bessent offered, without so much as a follow-up question from Ms. Brennan, was that Canada is guilty of trying to interfere in American sovereignty. It is an incredible answer. It is the talking points of the Chinese state that have been given for 40 years anytime an American officials dared to question their human rights record. But of course, it's not possible for an American official to question any nation's human rights record, given the extrajudicial killings, given the rumors of war and the manifest abuses taking place against American citizens in the United States by a nascent, masked, secret police force. Now, Ms. Brennan could have, at this absurdity, gone in for the kill. That's what a prepared journalist is supposed to do. There's an old saying in the Marine Corps, proper planning prevents piss-poor performance. Now, Scott Bessent is an apologist for every insanity that passes Trump's lips. All of them. The economy is falling apart. But in this instant, Ms. Brennan didn't have the wherewithal to ask if the $400 million plane gifted to Trump by the Qatari government, that's not an influence operation. That's not an intrusion into American sovereignty. Viktor Orban didn't come to the United States on Trump's behalf multiple times and call for the destruction of American democracy. What about Bibi Netanyahu? What about the dictator of El Salvador? The problem with all of these shows is that there's no challenge to whatever absurdist utterance is made in any given instance by any of these people who threaten to kill arbitrarily, like Stephen Miller, who make false accusations, like Kristi Noem, or threaten violence upon Americans, Donald Trump. Through this very moment, in 10 years' time, Donald Trump was never asked a single question about, at his core, what does he believe about dissent, about liberty? No question, but if you could put Chuck Schumer up against the wall and shoot him, would you? Would you like to do that? The presidency is a sacred trust. The American presidency swears an oath to a constitution that enshrines forevermore the right of the American to be free in their speech, in their worship, in their conscience. And now, at the edge of the 250th year of the independence of the United States, Donald Trump has sought to make dissent a crime. And with regard to all who say no and all who say enough, to every decent American who says not in my name, the response of the Trump government is identical in its malice and in its threat to what might come out of the Chinese state or the Russian government or the Iranian government or the Venezuelan government. Constant threats against the people, and it is intolerable. In about a year's time, the American people will have an opportunity to cleanse this entire vicious, idiotic political caste from power. That corrupt class of politicians, many Democrats in that number as well, want you to believe that the politicians pick the voters. It's not true. They want you to believe that you may not be able to vote. It's not true. You have the power to throw these people out, and you should do it because the survival of the United States as a free society depends on it. This is The Warning.
I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.